Welcome to the True Born Sons of Liberty radio broadcast. I'm your host, Stephen L. Anderson, pastor of Faithful Word Baptist Church in Tempe, Arizona. So we're with Pastor Coleman, 35th Avenue Baptist Church. He's the chaplain of the Constitution Party in Arizona. And Brother Coleman, what separates your Baptist church? That is the church that you pastor, and I know it's an independent Baptist church, and it's on 35th Avenue in Phoenix. What separates it from all the other hundreds of Baptist churches in the Phoenix area?
Well, I like to tell people this. They ask me, what is an independent Baptist church? I say an independent Baptist church is a Baptist church that's independent of any organization, any fellowship, association, convention.
Denomination,
yes. And therefore that makes us free.
Right.
Free to follow exactly what the Bible says the church ought to be. And whatever he says, it's right. Presuming you don't make any assumptions of what he says or believe what someone else says that God said, but you actually study and find proof here, here, and here, and here, and let the Bible interpret itself. Because the Bible says the scriptures the prophecies are not of any private interpretation. So if you get the biblical interpretation of itself in every doctrine, you can then do what Paul said in 1 Thessalonians 5, which is to prove all things. And that's what I've endeavored to do the last 8 years. So we've changed a lot. I mean, our structure, everything is changed because we do it exactly the way the Bible says. And we're free to do that. I don't have to worry about committees. I don't have to worry about deacons. I don't have to worry about any of these things that repress and bind and tie down the hands of the God-called pastor to lead the church to follow God. Moses, Stephen called the children of Israel in the wilderness the church in the wilderness.
Right.
Moses was the pastor of that church.
Very true.
Moses' father-in-law was named Reu, and that word Reu means pastor. Moses had a pastor for 40 years in the wilderness, and then God called him to lead the children of Israel out. That was the first church, the church in the wilderness. And they followed Moses. Well, who did Moses follow? Did he do things according to his own mind? He said, no. I've not done these things according to my mind. I've done that which God has told me. So as long as Moses follows God, the children of Israel will be following God as they follow Moses. And that's the role I play as pastor. That's one of the biggest changes I made in that I taught the folks, look, if you can't trust your pastor, leave your church.
Right.
Because your pastor should be so in tune with God, so yielded to God, and so unauthoritative as far as his own authority that he's going to say only thus saith the Lord,
right,
that the people can trust him.
Well, think about when Moses was about to die in Numbers 27. He said it was important that they have another leader after he was gone. He said that they be not as sheep having no shepherd.
Right.
And that's where in Numbers 27, he put some of his honor upon Joshua. And Joshua was chosen to be successor because people need a human leader.
Right.
It's like Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ.
Exactly.
And so, it's good to have a pastor that you believe in.
Yes.
And that's going the direction that you want to go.
Right.
That way you can have someone to help guide you.
And most churches have deacon-run churches.
Right.
They have constitutions that are this thick. We had a 50-page
They're thicker than the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, that's right. We had at this church when I came here a 50-page constitution.
Right.
I complimented the people involved in that they put a lot of thought into it. I didn't tell them my real thoughts because it was too early. I wasn't being dishonest. I was being wise. And I said, we need to get back to the Bible. So eventually I was able to lead the church where we voted to annul the Constitution and to make the Bible the word of our Constitution. And everybody present in the service signed that the Bible is our Constitution, plus nothing, minus nothing. This is what determines how we govern as a church.
Sure, absolutely.
We're a church of God. We don't belong to any organization. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to the people. Jesus Christ is the head of this church.
Thank you for listening to the True Born Sons of Liberty radio broadcast.